For 8 decades, the official stance on unidentified encounters was simple. They didn't exist. When a rancher found debris or a pilot reported an impossible craft, military response was immediate. The explanations were limited to weather balloons, optical illusions, or confused witnesses. That stance ended on May 8, 2026. Under a direct presidential order, the Department of War was instructed to take classified archives on unidentified anomalous phenomena and open them to the public. The Pursue program launched with 162 records, 120 documents, 28 military videos, and 14 photographs. No clearance required. These records were drawn directly from the active files of the FBI, NASA, the State Department, and the Department of War. The government hosted this archive on a dedicated site, war.gov/UFO. Within hours of going live that morning, the volume of civilian traffic overwhelmed the servers and crashed the site. This was a fully verified government release. The FBI director, the Director of National Intelligence, and the Secretary of Defense all held public briefings to confirm that every file in the drop was authentic. The United States government dismantled its own policy of silence and handed the raw, unedited data directly to the public. To understand the scale of this release, we have to look closely at the files themselves. The earliest anomalies originate outside our atmosphere. Deep within the archive is a photograph from the 1972 Apollo 17 mission. Hanging over the lunar surface, directly above the astronaut, are 3 distinct, unexplained lights in the vacuum of space. Another file details an encounter during the Gemini 7 mission. The report was filed by Frank Borman, an experienced commander who would later lead the first manned mission to orbit the moon. Borman did not log space debris or a visual artifact. The file records him tracking what he explicitly called a bogey pacing his spacecraft, the military designation for an unidentified and potentially hostile object. In Germany and along the Soviet border during the 1950s and 60s, American personnel consistently logged radar returns and visual sightings of craft that accelerated and maneuvered with a proficiency surpassing any known engineering. These archives prove that the military was documenting craft that defied explanation while simultaneously telling the public that the skies were empty. The declassified records lead directly into the present day. An official caption from a 2024 file describes a football-shaped body. Tracked by the U.S. Indo-Pacific Command near Japan, the object was filmed executing maneuvers that current aviation technology cannot replicate. Another infrared file captures unidentified objects moving over the western United States in September 2025, only 8 months before the public release. This data covers a single 13-month window spanning May 2023 to June 2024. During that period, military personnel filed 757 new UAP reports. With an average of more than 2 sightings every day, the military is no longer dealing with isolated anomalies. These encounters are a routine, daily occurrence in active airspace. The 162 records in the PURSE database represent a massive volume of data, but they also define a calculated void. The most sensitive intelligence exists in the negative space of the declassification. There are no files from the Central Intelligence Agency. The National Security Agency and the Defense Intelligence Agency are also missing. These organizations operate the most pervasive surveillance networks and deeply classified aerospace programs on Earth. For 80 years, they have been the primary architects of American intelligence, yet their archives remain entirely sealed. This fragmented release has caused internal friction. Congressman Tim Burchett's formal demands for DoD videos were not fulfilled, while the former head of the Pentagon's UFO office warned that releasing raw data without context would only fuel public speculation. A second release scheduled for June 2026 will focus on underwater encounters, unidentified submerged objects tracked by naval sonar beneath the oceans. The Pentagon has provided a massive amount of verified data, but by excising the files of the primary intelligence agencies, the deepest operational secrets remain highly classified. Strip away the noise, and the 80 years of declassified files confirm 4 specific realities. First, these objects physically exist, tracked by military sensors. Second, their flight capabilities exceed known human technology. Third, there is an 80-year pattern of them monitoring nuclear and combat zones. Fourth, The government maintained a classified database while publicly claiming nothing to study. The era of questioning whether unidentified aerial phenomena are real is over. The only task left is identifying them. The Department of Defense is refusing to identify the origin of these craft. Instead, they have instructed the public to draw their own conclusions. In the absence of an official explanation, the private sector is stepping in. Researchers and engineers are feeding the military's raw telemetry into AI systems to find consistent patterns that do not match human databases. They are searching for answers in a dataset that remains inherently incomplete, missing the crucial surveillance archives of the NSA and the CIA. Yet the seal is broken. The highest military authority in the country has placed the raw evidence on a public server. By walking away from their role as the arbiter of truth, the government has passed the burden onto the public. The data is available. The only thing left to discover is whether we are prepared for what it proves.